Anthony Deal. Anthony Deal. You're awesome, dude. I've been looking up and reading on you, and you're amazing. You were Maha before there was a Maha movement. You've been on the front lines of getting America in shape again, and you clear up a lot of misconceptions and the like. Can you give us just a quick aerial bio? Obviously.
Well, I can do that. Yeah. Will it be quick? I'll do my best. Okay, so I grew up right here, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, with good Amish cooking.
Yeah.
So I was the chubby kid.
Ooh. So you grew up in an Amish family?
No, not an Amish family, but Amish cooking.
Amish cooking, yeah.
Let's go. Yeah. And so I went away to college, and instead of gaining the freshman 15, it was like the freshman 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I ballooned up pretty big. And I can't tell you why. I just remember being in the dorm room with a bunch of my friends who were cutting weight for wrestling. I stepped on the scale. The last thing I had known, I was like, I'm about 220. I stepped on the scale and it was like 260.
Dang.
But this was a bad 260.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'd played sports, soccer and basketball, but I was pretty weak.
And you're pretty tall. Yeah. You're
6 feet.
Yeah.
But so I should have been
more.
But
260 is a lot. Yeah.
260 is a lot. And so something snapped in my head and I said, this has to change.
Yeah.
I went to college at a private Christian school in northern Wisconsin. Okay. So it was perpetually below zero. Uh-huh. So I went to the gym the next morning and I said, I am going to run as many laps around this basketball court as I possibly can. And I made it 6 whole laps. And so I said, okay.
That's when you cracked open the beer and ate some bacon.
Well, it was a fundamentalist Baptist college. We did no beer.
There you go.
No. So I said, all right, cool. I'm going to add a lap every single day.
That's good. Yeah.
And I knew nothing at the time of fitness or nutrition, but I knew just from the ether, like meat and veggies. That's good. Let's just do that. Mm-hmm. Now, at the time, I was also traveling for the school on the weekends as part of kind of a ministry and drama team. So we worked with a lot of youth groups, cool. It was like a recruiting function of the school.
Yeah.
So we're traveling around in churches and Christian schools and whatnot. So what do they do with college students when they come in? They feed them pasta and pizza and ice cream.
Carb, sugar. Yeah.
So I said to myself, okay, I will eat only meat and vegetables during the week, and then on the weekend I will eat 1 plate of whatever is served to me. Mm-hmm. I'll eat ice cream, I'll eat whatever, and then that's it. I'm just not going to get seconds. I'm going to go right back at it. So I did that, and I ended up losing about 90 pounds in roughly 6 months.
Wow.
Now, I went from chubby, inactive kid to running literally every day of my life with no breaks. Right. Which actually is not wise. I wouldn't encourage people to do that. And I hurt my hip, like to the point where it was just painful to walk, like kind of a grinding. And so I went to the doctor, got an MRI. He's like, hey, you're going to be fine, but you can't run for a while. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to gain all this weight back.
Right.
So buddy brought me into the weight room. He's like, just start lifting with me.
And how old are you around now?
I'm 19. 19.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
I started lifting. I had never lifted before. And in my first year from 19 to 20, I put on a bunch of weight, good weight, and I was repping over 300 pounds on bench.
Dang.
And I just realized that inner chubby kid, I was just always built to be strong. Mm-hmm. So I kind of fell in love with the strength sport side of things. And as I, just fast forward a little bit to keep this story as short as possible, fell in love with lifting, picked up the hobby of strongman, started doing really well with that. But what piqued my interest in metabolic health and health in general was my son, who is now 10, has autism. When he was diagnosed at 2, my wife and I went down the rabbit hole of everything we could do to improve his health, improve his speech therapy, occupational therapy. And one of the things that we did was pulled out all gluten and dairy, anything that was inflammatory.
Okay, yeah.
Now, initially we just did this for Haddon, but that became like very stressful on my wife.
Yeah.
So I just said, babe, listen, we're going to do this as a family, and we're just going to eat things that have roots and a mother. That's the best piece of advice, guys. Just eat real food.
Natural,
does it have roots? Does it have a mother? That's right.
Yeah.
And that was the only variable that changed at the time, and my strength and performance just went through the roof.
Wow.
And so that's many years ago now, but it's led to a mantra that I preach to my athletes and to all my coaches who work for me is, hey, if you are healthy at the cellular level, you're going to look and perform better.
Right.
Because back then, in 2010-ish era, 2012, all of that, if you were a strength athlete, it was eat everything in sight, get as strong as possible. We hadn't really connected the whole, hey, no, you should be metabolically healthy, and that will increase.
Was it Ronnie Coleman on a diet of McDonald's? Didn't he just eat?
Well, Ronnie
That's what
was a
I always
little-
saw on the TV. You know?
I'll tell you what, bodybuilding and strength are so different.
They are, aren't they? They
Yeah,
are.
they're
What
wildly
is
different.
the difference? Yeah, what's the key difference?
Well, with bodybuilding, you're going to get strong. I mean, those Ronnie
Yeah,
called
they're
him strong. He
strong,
squatted
yeah.
800 pounds for a double.
Yeah.
But that's not really that impressive in the powerlifting world.
Right. Right.
So with bodybuilding, you are using food and weights like a hammer and a chisel to craft a physique.
Wow. Okay.
And so your aim isn't strength as an end. Your aim
Right.
is muscle size.
Right.
Strength will be a byproduct. With strength sports, strength is the aim.
Right.
You will get some size as a byproduct, but you're not using the weights artistically to chisel that
Proportioning
physique.
and
no
like
one
a
cares about
sculpture.
that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
With strength
yeah.
sports, you want to squat, bench,
yeah.
deadlift, overhead press.
Yeah.
As much
Screw
as
the
humanly
calves.
possible. Wait, I'm wearing jeans. You didn't even see.
No. You look pretty chiseled.
No,
That's
my
for sure, I can
calves,
say.
I have to tell the story. Because my wife, she knows a little bit of the fitness world, but she's not like in it like I am. And one of the most humbling moments of my life when I was competing in strongman, I finally cleaned and pressed a 200-pound dumbbell with one hand over my head.
Dude, that's crazy.
And I get the video and I text it to my wife, and literally her reply is, "But why do your calves look so small?"
But that's what wives are supposed to do. They're God's sandpaper. They just sanctify us. Did you get into like the heyday, the golden day of the bodybuilding? So Arnold and Lou Ferrigno and Columbu and all so these guys the 70s pumping iron era.
I watched all that stuff.
Yeah, they were.
magazines.
They put it on the map. It seems.
Of course.
And then it's right around the same time. I think the Soviet weightlifting world was it Vasily Alexiev.
That's right.
Was he the first guy to lift over 500 over his head?
You're going back and
But that's when I was a kid, I was enamored. They were like real life
Action
titans.
heroes.
Yeah, they were.
That's right.
They were incredible.
Well, and then strongman kind of came out of that. There's a lot of history and legend with strongman. Like stone lifting goes back for millennia. Especially in Scandinavia regions.
Yeah.
One of the things, the iconic Husafell stone is a 409-pound stone that you can still go over and lift to this day. And you carry it around a sheep pen.
Oh my! And one of the strongmen competitions, right?
That's right. And the idea is, if you can make a full revolution around that thing, you are labeled full styrker, full strength. But that was a big deal because if you could do that, that earned you the best wages and the best positions on the ships.
Yeah.
So there was an advantage to being strong.
Yeah.
And historically, when you look at strength and competition, typically it's limited to men, and really what it is, it's a way to gamify preparation for war. I mean, that's what the Olympic Games were. All the rowing, the javelin, wrestling, all of that. It's gamifying war.
Right.
And so strongman has its roots in building hardy men for life on the seas.
Yep.
And then the games came out of it. When strongman started in the United States, there wasn't really a methodology for how to train for it. What you would do is essentially just it was a bunch of guys finding the strongest, biggest guy they knew, coming together at a parking lot, being like, "Hey, we have this axle from this old vehicle. Let's see if we can pick it up and put it over our heads. Hey, I have this old engine block. Let's see who can pick it up and run with it the farthest."
So let's see who could pull the bus.
That's right. That's right. And so the original strongman, I think the first World's Strongest Man aired in like 1979.
Yeah.
And you have people, former NFL players. You have bodybuilders. You have
anybody who's done strength training.
Yeah, I knew this.
Game.
I knew this guy. He's a 6'9". He's a mechanic down here at the shop. I saw him press a transmission once. Get him out here. Let's see if he can do it. Right.
Yeah,
and so it kind of evolved from there.
But then the weightlifters sort of took over, didn't you? The real strength trainers.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you say took over, I just mean like the methodology and how to get strong got better. Even in my era. So when I started strongman, it was a couple years before Instagram was a thing. When I started as a middleweight strongman, if you could clean and press a 240-pound log at my size, you're doing really well.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
nothing.
If you're a middleweight and
yeah.
you can't overhead press 300 pounds, why are you here?
What? Yeah.
Why bother?
The standard
right?
is just
Back then, if you could deadlift 600 pounds, that is a strong dude. Now that is amateur chump weight.
Wow.
And why? Well, because with social media, now we have the dissemination of all this training methodology.
Yeah.
You have 19-year-olds deadlifting 1,000 pounds. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
Even 15 years ago. But now we have such wide dissemination of knowledge and training that people can progress much further, much faster. So the bar just continues to climb.